Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's go ahead and get started with today's guest. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me here today. My name is Earl Ameen. I am the CEO of the Gray Owl Company. Yes, the Gray Owl Company. We are close to 36, maybe even 37 years old throughout our various iterations over time. Our focus is that CEOs hire us to give them what we call 2020 foresight. And that 2020 foresight allows them the ability to see the road ahead, often before others or their competitors do. But then we take it a step farther than that. We will customize design plans, strategies, tactics, but we'll also execute on their behalf. So we are full service, full circle. And so we have been providing these services and many others for almost 37 years.
Wow, what a great service. I like that. That's unique. I've not heard that before, so I love that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
Wow, the best thing about working with a team is that it is a team by definition, but not always by function. So you'll have an opportunity where a team will come forward and you have a mission objective, but you have to determine that the team is thinking, is acting, and responding as a team. So a team would be a coordinated effort to accomplish a specific goal. And as you know, because we are human beings, that isn't simply always the case. So the thing I love about working with a team is identifying its strength and supporting that team in working through its weaknesses in order to produce an optimum impact and achieve the goal.
Those are great comments. Thank you. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
Yes, it's interesting. I've just come out of a meeting on that same subject. That oftentimes, especially as times change, circumstances both in the economy, both in our society, both in the world at large, can cause an incongruence or a disharmony in teams and how they connect to one another. So leadership is always the answer to the question. Effective, solid leadership that doesn't sit in the background when leadership is called for. And leadership sometimes leads from the front and leads from behind, but is always a party to the team. So if leaders understand that and execute in a way that honors the efforts of the team, but keeps them focused on the objectives of the team, usually that team wins.
Great comments on leadership. I love that, either from the front or from behind. They've got to be a part of the party there. So that is great. That is great. Question number 4. What other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Wow. I would feel remiss if I didn't speak the name of the person who really taught me all that I know. And that was my father, Walter. But in active today, I think of Sarah Russell of Go Beyond 10, who is an astounding individual and a leader in the training and development, learning and development space. They focus primarily on Fortune 200 companies, but since recent times, they've really been focusing on helping to teach and design trainings for teaching balance during imbalanced times. So I would certainly, number one, recommend her.
Well, she sounds like a great individual, so thank you for that recommendation, that recognition of her and her accomplishments. Question number 5, what other piece of advice would you offer to leaders of teams?
Wow. I would say first, be mindful that you're leading a team. Sometimes leaders get so far out ahead of their team that they're not leading their team, and the team turns inward to itself and tries to lead itself, and that's always tends to spell catastrophe. I would say also uh, compassion. I'd say
Mhm.
be a great listener, not to be the first to speak. And one of the things that I speak to leaders, the CEOs, all the time about is regardless of what is brought to you, be ready, willing, and able to first ask a question. By
Mm.
asking questions, you get the information that you need in order to provide direction. So, question first, direction next.
That is such great advice. I absolutely love that. Thank you. Final
Mm.
question. Tell us about your first job.
Oh, my first job was self employment at age 7. My first job, I decided I wanted to, in the summertime, rake leaves, do yard work, and in the wintertime, do the shoveling, the shovel work. But I had a slight twist to it. So I would take a certain area, a certain couple of blocks, and I would find somebody in that couple of areas to do all the work, and I would pay them for it. And so I had, 10, 15 blocks around my home that were these little fiefdoms or little franchises, if you will. And I did quite well. Did quite well as a result. So I've been an entrepreneur since that.
That's
Yes.
fantastic. I love that story. Very smart. I hear a lot of people, when they answer that question, they'll say, well, I mowed lawns or I babysat or had a newspaper route or whatever. But I think you're one of the first that have said, not only do I do the landscaping and snow removal, but I hired a team to go out and do the
Yes.
work while I organized and was
Yes.
told. So way
All
to
about the
go.
team.
Earl,
Yes,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much for being on our podcast today. How can people find you?
We have a website for the Gray Owl Company, and that is www.thegrayowlcompany.com. Our site is undergoing some significant changes as we have grown and expanded into a global enterprise. So those changes will be present shortly. And but that's where you can find us, and feel free to contact us for any of your needs around growing your business or even growing yourself.
Great. Thanks so much, Earl. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great day.